Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding program this morning. We're doing a profile on Cheon. He's a supervisor of customer service, NRC, Great Lakes, North Chicago, United States Post Office. And Jay, and I'll let him tell you about himself. We only have 28 minutes, and I'll let him tell the whole story. But I served in the U.S. Army in Busan, Korea, for 16 months, probably a little bit before he was born, though, 1954, 55. I was the chief clerk at the 55th Quartermaster Depot, for those of you that served in Korea. So we're going to have Cheon tell us a little bit about himself. I thought it was very unique to have him on a radio program to renew old acquaintances. But I say renew, but he's a lot younger than he was when I was over there. He wasn't even born, as a matter of fact, But I thought he is a person that you should know. I don't know how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning, listening to the program, but we do have quite a few that are up that early. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks. Thanks for inviting me here. My name is Cheon.
Okay.
Like you said, currently I work at the post office in North Chicago. NRC is abbreviation for North Chicago and Great Lakes. We serve 60064 and 60088, two zip codes. Mainly, I oversee the delivery operation on a daily basis, and that's what I do in the postal service. Before I go on, I would like to say thank you for the service. And many veterans that are out there who served during that Korean War, pre and post war period of time. Because without you, I probably wouldn't be born and wouldn't be talking to you right now. So thanks to all the veterans. And also, I served in the Marines for 4 years, 1992-94 as well. But especially to those veterans who served in the Korea and Vietnam era, I greatly appreciate your service.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I served quite a bit. I was in Korea. I was in Busan, and then we moved up through the north, Daegu, which is an Air Force facility, right? And I learned how to bowl in Seoul, Korea. I threw my first bowling ball in Seoul. So they do bowling over there at that time. From there, I went up to Cheon Valley, which is really about 20 miles from the DMZ at that time. So we were replacements over there in Korea. So it was underserved, my country, And so I come back from here, and it's to be honorably treated here in this country too, after serving over there. But tell us, what piqued your interest in coming to the United States?
Actually, that question, I would say irrelevant because I was a little kid.
Okay.
So it's not like I had a choice. My parents immigrated here.
Okay.
And they brought all the family here, and that's how I entered the U.S. legally, of course. And, I just grew up here.
Okay, now tell us what piqued your interest in the United States Postal Service.
After serving in the Marines, Postal Service is... it's very difficult to say, but it's a semi-federal government, but we're not operated by tax money. However, they do offer some benefits to the military, the veterans who served in the country. And by entering the U.S. Postal Service, I would get 4 years of service that I had in the Marine Corps. So that adds toward my retirement.
Okay.
And there are some other great benefits that come along with it. And that's probably one of the main reasons. At the same time, my brother-in-law worked for the Northbrook Post Office as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great paying job, good benefits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, at this time, the two new employees that are coming in, it's not like what it used to be.
Mm.
So I can't really say that it is still a great job for the newcomers,
Mm-hmm.
but at least when I was coming in, it was.
Well, tell us about some of the challenges and experiences that you have encountered in your position.
You know, the Postal Service has diverse workforce. You can name any race, and Postal Service has it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is so unique about the Postal Service. So basically, dealing with the diverse culture
Mm-hmm.
is probably the most challenging part.
Mm-hmm.
But as a supervisor, as a management, you have to understand their culture, understand their background, understand their personality and characters.
Mm-hmm.
And based on those informations, based on their characters and personality, you need to manage accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And that can, sometimes that can be challenging because you do have a lot of characters and personalities in the USPS.
Well, what about computer technology? I understand that email costs, with stamps and so forth, has been a challenge to the post office itself. Raising costs.
Right. Ever since the internet has launched, in the beginning, I don't think the USPS fully understood where the internet was taking.
Okay.
But once they realized with this email, social media, and even shipping,
Mm-hmm.
receiving through internet service, USPS has, should I say maybe took the step a little late,
Mm-hmm.
but fastly approaching to that, adapting that new technology. So they're coming up with a lot of different programs and technology to meet those requirements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And emails definitely reduced first-class mail.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's interesting that, I had a lot of debate with some of the carriers and other adults. We hardly see people write letters
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It's all through social media, all through email, all through internet connection and communication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, sometimes I feel a little, it's not all great that the technology is advancing. At the same time, I believe that the emotional feelings or sincerity
Mm-hmm.
that comes with the first-class letter are going away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How well did you adjust to? Now you had an adjustment to make to the Postal Service and to the people that you're working with, but what about adjusting to your supervisory position?
It comes with a lot of responsibility, but at the same time, the USPS does provide a lot of training,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of education, and it's really up to you to improve yourself. The opportunities are there
Mm-hmm.
for you to improve.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the opportunities to move up,
Mm-hmm.
I think I can't really say. I think it is inappropriate for me to talk down on the USPS.
Mm-hmm.
But just like any organization, I think there's some political challenges
Mm-hmm.
and somewhat bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I see that in every organization, though.
Yeah. Well, what about the percentage of Koreans that are in the post office? You have any idea? What is, if not the total postal service, then maybe the North Chicago Great Lakes Post Office.
Well, North Chicago Great Lakes has one Korean American carrier. Her name is Cha. She used to be a clerk.
Okay.
But she was accessed due to the reduction of the workforce.
Okay.
So she took a job over the carrier side.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed, especially in Illinois area,
Mm-hmm.
especially in North Shore, there are a lot of Korean American postal employees.
Oh,
especially in Northbrook. I worked 10 different offices.
Mm.
Northbrook, Libertyville, Chicago, Edgebrook, Lincolnwood Station, Waukegan, Bristol, Wisconsin, also Lake Bluff. And every post office that I've been to, except Bristol, Wisconsin, there was always a Korean American postal employee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting that they're kind of spread out.
Mm-hmm. That's another interesting question. It doesn't necessarily just apply to Koreans, but in the postal service, you have to be mobile and ready to travel, ready to move.
Usually in the management side, yes.
Okay.
When you take on a detailed positions or any other challenging positions, you need to be ready to move on or relocate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you mentioned about employment experiences and training that you've had on your road to success. The Postal Service provides adequate training then, right?
Yes and no. Postal Service does provide enough training for me to improve. However, Postal Service way is not always the right way.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a further research, further study outside the Postal Service.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of books that's written by John Maxwell,
Okay.
Max Lucado. And there are other leadership styles or management styles than what the Postal Service or a specific organization may teach you. Mm-hmm. So I guess it is up to you to explore other leadership styles as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any difficulty in racial, the language? What other adjustments you have to make in order to be successful?
I think, I guess that can be a sensitive subject, but
okay.
I think prejudice and racism exist in every place, every organization, every country.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's not the matter of whether you're being discriminated by a certain race, but it is the fallen nature of human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So the sooner you adapt and understand the human nature, I think you just got to overcome with those issues. Now, I do see a lot of inequalities. I'm not talking about the Postal Service, but I'm talking about the society itself.
Okay.
Of course, the community.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Brooks, I'm pretty sure you know very well about that.
Being a community activist, yes.
Yes. And they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to go away, but it's something that we can certainly improve by understanding and respecting each other more, more and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Mr. Cheon. He's a supervisor of customer service, NRC, Great Lakes, North Chicago, United States Post Office, and we are doing a profile on him. He's a native of Korea, and I was stationed in Korea for 16 months, a little bit before he was born, though. I was there in 54, 55, and I guess he was born in,
1972.
1972. But we're reflecting. So he's telling us about his career and the adjustment that he's made to become a success at the United States Post Office. One thing I don't want to overlook is the family adjustment in a change of location. Tell about your family adjustment.
My family immigrated to the U.S. in 1984.
Okay.
Obviously, my mother and father couldn't speak English at all.
Okay.
So they had a terrible adjustment time.
Mm-hmm.
We first came to Chicago, but due to the personal issues, we moved to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
However, we didn't last long there either because my mother and father couldn't find a job there without speaking English proficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved to New York City, where there were more Korean population, and they got a job there, and we barely survived. Unfortunately, my father passed away about a year after we immigrated. So it was a single mother with 6 kids, including myself. So we were just, day by day, we were barely getting by. And sometimes I do hear stereotyping comments when you see an Asian. You know, a lot of people think that you grew up with the money, or they have a lot of cash, or, you know, they're from a nice background, whatever. But that was not true for us. So that was a difficult adjustment. But as far as myself, growing up here, joining the Marine Corps, once I got out, I married a wonderful wife, and God has granted 2 blessing children.
Okay.
And one is about to go to college. And we're doing okay.
But your wife, though, is she working?
She was a homemaker for like 16 years, but now she has a job. She works for the Hanul nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
She works there as a social worker who assists the senior events, the senior communities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about entrepreneurship among Koreans here in the United States? I mention that because my cleaning owner, you know, is I've been dealing with him for many years. Great job in the community. But that's cleaners, but are there other entrepreneurships among Koreans in the, I should say United States, but the community?
So just to give you a little background, and basically this is my opinion again, based on what I had observed since I was a little kid growing up here. A lot of Korean Americans who came here in 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they were hard workers.
Okay.
You know, they worked minimum 12, 14 hours a day, including my mother. And their only dream was to feed the children, provide better things for their children, but they had a language barrier issues. And one of the ways that they were able to survive was opening up a small business. And obviously, you do see a lot of Korean Americans owning a lot of small business. And they're pretty good at it, too. What was unfortunate back in 60s, 70s, 80s, again, this is my opinion, but including what I had observed through my mother's restaurant in Brooklyn, New York, was that a lot of Koreans did well in African American community.
I wonder why.
That's a good question. That's a good question. They did very well. However, I think they were lacking to give what they received.
Oh, okay.
And obviously there were some conflicts between African Americans and Korean community back in early 90s. in LA as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a cultural difference. A lot of Korean Americans were ignorant. They didn't understand the culture. But I do see a lot of business owners in today's world that give away a lot of things back to the community, and which is a positive sign.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to mention that the relationship between the African American community and the Korean community back in 1970s, 80s.
I always wondered about that too, coming into a community, not giving back, but usurping the resources from the people that they've, taken from. I never could figure that one out, but they're successful.
Yeah, they were, and I think one of the you say you were wondering why, but in my opinion, I think it was easier for them to deal with African Americans than Caucasians.
Okay.
As a customer.
With the products that they provide?
The products and the food.
Okay.
In Brooklyn, New York, back in 1960s, 70s, there were a lot of, including my mother, owned a lot of fried chicken, fried fish restaurants. And it was really, really good business.
Okay.
Until the economy was, kind of went down. But, I mean, that was a really good business. And a lot of Korean Americans own dry cleaners.
Okay.
Vegetable stores in New York, beauty salons.
Okay. Right.
And beauty supplies.
Okay.
And there are a lot of money in there. But you notice that a lot of these products are targeted for African Americans. Yeah. And that's a very interesting part. And the Korean Americans should not forget where the sources were coming from, or sources are coming from.
Okay.
And continue to give back something to that community.
Mm-hmm. I always wonder why we didn't have African American entrepreneurs supplying those products, but they would cater to the Koreans for the same products and make them successful. And that's still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening. I think it's a lot less. I mean, definitely a lot less than 60s, 70s, and 80s. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that there are still large numbers of Korean Americans business that are targeted toward the African Americans.
I noticed that, well, one thing I may mention, like in the political arena, in Seattle, Washington, there was an Asian American that ran against an African American for governor. And the Asian won. So the Asian must have a heavy population there in Seattle, Washington. I was surprised the African American was the mayor. I can't think of his name right now, but I met him personally though. He was the mayor, a very popular mayor. But when he ran for governor, which is a whole state, covered the whole state, there were more Asian Americans, and the Asian won.
That's very surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about the favorite foods there in. Of course, we didn't have the restaurants there in Korea, but I could always have the smell of kimchi. Tell us what is kimchi? I asked a Korean about kimchi, and 3 times a day they would eat kimchi.
Yeah, I eat kimchi. I could eat 4 or 5 times a day if I had enough supplies. But kimchi just runs out real quick in my home. So kimchi is very addictive food to me.
Okay.
To me, it is. It's a Korean traditional side dish. Actually, it's not a main course. It's a side dish that you eat with the main dish. They call it condiments in English words, but I'm not sure if that is the appropriate word. But to me, it's a side dish. But then sometimes it can become a main dish
Okay.
I mean, without a meat, I could eat rice and kimchi, but without a kimchi, it's hard for me to eat just the rice and meat. So that's how important the kimchi is, and it goes back thousands of years. It has thousands of years of history.
But what is it composed of?
Kimchi is basically there are a lot of different kind, but the main one of the main characteristic of kimchi is a Chinese napa cabbage, and then you kind of salt it and leave it for hours, sometimes even overnight, and then you wash it thoroughly.
Okay.
Then you would mix it up with ingredients such as red peppers, garlic, ginger, fish oil, or I'm sorry, not fish oil, fish sauce.
Okay.
And even with forgot the word, but it's like little fish that we could put in there. It's a baby shrimps, but that's fermented baby shrimps, I believe. So you put those ingredients in there and you mix it up, and it becomes kimchi. It tastes better after fermenting it for several days. But I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, though. People think that kimchi is rotten cabbage, but it's not a rotten. It's just that it's fermented.
Okay.
I don't know if the English dictionary has fermented and rotten as the same meaning or not, but it is definitely different. Kimchi is not rotten cabbage.
Okay.
But it's just, it tastes better as it gets aged.
I can't end the program without mentioning church. What is the most popular church there in Korea?
In Korea, back in old days, it definitely has to be the Buddhist.
Okay.
But now, I think the Christian population is probably the main religion in South Korea, at least South Korea.
So in this country, it probably would be Christian and more so than Buddhist, is that right?
Yes.
In the United States.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, what's the future of Cheon now, Cheon now? Where would you like to be in another 5 years or 10 years?
Well, in the next 5 years, I would definitely like to own my business.
Okay.
USPS has definitely helped me to survive, provide food on the table for my kids.
Okay.
However, I think there is a limitation of working for someone or working for a company, and I want to explore and seek what it would be like having your own business and receiving or getting what you deserve or what you earn. So I would like to be a business owner in the next 5 years, and definitely I would like to be a better person than now in the next 5 years. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Mr. Cheon. He's a supervisor of customer service, NRC Great Lakes, North Chicago, United States Postal Service. And after meeting him, I know he is a person that you should know. I'm served in the military in Korea, and my family physician is from Korea.
Oh, is he?
I cannot get him to be on the show. He's a little bashful in talking, and so forth. But he's an outstanding family physician. So I want to thank you very much for taking time for your busy schedule to be with us on Community Focus, and for potentially Lake County is approximately 750,000 people. But like I said at the top of the program, I don't know how many up at 5 a.m. this Sunday morning listening to the program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking time for your busy schedule to listening to another awareness session on Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.